Hello and welcome back to Judo Fest 2020. It is my pleasure to present the next panel, the next discussion, which is going to be about the future of judo. And I have the honor to be accompanied by some legends of judo, some of my favorite legends of judo as well. My name is Vlad Muranescu. I am the Chief Media Marketing Officer of the International Judo Federation, and I will be the moderator for today's session. Before we begin, I'd like to play you a short video to introduce our legends for today's discussion. Welcome, dear panelists. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedules to join us for the Judo Fest 2020. And to begin, I'd like to start with a very simple question to start breaking the ice for how did you start judo and why did you start judo? Ingrid?
Well, I was 9 years old, and my dad he would have loved to have two boys, and we were two girls at home. And he wanted to do us, he made us play football before, and then the only sport we could do close to the house where we could go on our own was judo. And it was in the back of this cafe, in this place where people had drinks, and in the back there was a small area where they put some mats, and that's where I started judo. But when I started judo, the whole class where I was at school went with me to do judo.
Fantastic story. Neil, what was your story with starting judo?
Very similar, actually, to Ingrid. My father started as my brother and myself doing judo, and we were seven. I was 7. My brother was 3.5 years older, and just a small little club at the back of a public house, a pub car park, and is a little blue hut. And I remember the first lesson going there, and they taught us how to break fall and how to do ukemi properly. And it was, pretty similar. It just developed, and as we got further and further, as we got a little bit older, 1 year into it, and then we started to learn judo properly. But started when we were very, very young.
Thank you, Neil. Lucie?
To me, I was 6 and I started judo at school because in France, many children start judo at school, and it was very simply. I like the sports already, and I continue.
Immediate love. And Ilias?
Whoa. When I started, I think when I was like in 5 years old. In Georgia we have in traditional wrestling, and all kids is fight. So, and one day I was, I was hooligan boy. you know. And when my cousin, you know, is Olympic champion, Zurab Zriadauri. He was a fighter. He was in training. He told me, go and see if you do like, you can start judo. So when I go in judo dojo first time, I see first time what I like, discipline for kids. You know, that's why when I was on outside the street, and when I go in dojo, discipline was so important for me, and that's why I chose nothing, just discipline. Go, I see kids was like, 200 kids was one line and one coach. Oh my God, I say, this is my life. I want to start judo. And I start judo.
And to ask you, Ilias, just continuing on that point, what is your most memorable moment throughout your entire judo career so far?
In my judo career?
Yes.
You know, too many people ask me in the Olympic Games. Of course, Olympic Games, it's high. Okay, next Olympic Games is finish everything. But, for me was in Tokyo 2010 World Championships. It was really, it was really great moment because I have lose 2 finals in the World Champion. And it was also my difficult moment when I start after injury. And he was like my last competition. Before competition, I say, if this competition I get medal, I continue. And I win this World Championships. And this was, for me, so great moment. And so first thing what I remember in my career, 2010 in Tokyo World Championships.
It's an incredible moment. I remember the I must win. We will get back to that in a second. Ingrid, what was your most memorable moment?
There are so many, and everything is different. I mean, the first time, the last time, in the middle, after injuries. But one competition I will always remember. I think it was in 1984, where I got 2 gold medals in the open category weight division and in my own weight division, where I did all my fights on 2 days. So I think that was a moment where I knew I was really, really good.
Neil, how about you? What was your most memorable moment that stays with you always when you think about judo?
I think I have 2, and I think the first one was when I got my Dan grade. First, it was I was 15 and I got it through the line, and I did all that for me was the most important grade to me. And of course, the second one was when I won the World Championships against Jiro Kase of Japan, and to beat because I always looked up to the Japanese way of doing judo, and that's it stayed with me. And to beat Jiro in the final of the World Championships and to beat him like I did was very memorable for me, and I'll never forget it. Yeah, great moment.
There's a beautiful picture coming from that moment. I remember with a smile on your face, complete smile in the moment of victory.
You get carried away in the moment, and it's a special moment. And of course, it's something that you carry with you forever.
Lucie, how about you? What is your most memorable moment in your judo career or your judo life?
In my judo life at the Olympic Games in London. Because when I start my career, I win the Paris tournament in 2001, and after that I go to Olympic Games in Athens. So in Athens, no medal. After my second Olympic Games in 2008 in Beijing, so the second place. So when I win in the London, it was like finally I can win. And it was very, very long. From 2001 to 2012, it was very long. So for me, it was the beautiful memories.
I think also some of my most beautiful memories were watching you and Ilias competing. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to watch Ingrid and Neil competing live in that moment because I'm coming only a little bit later in the judo. But judo is not only a sport that is at the elite level and about winning medals, one of the essential components of judo is also the educational values. And I think the application of judo to the education of children to prepare them for the future. So Lucie, to you, I know you're very involved now. What is the best way and what is the benefit of giving judo to the children? How can we give children judo that they love it and it makes them have a better life?
In France, it's since many years judo development of judo in many clubs and in many schools, and with the federation, the French Federation, there is also an event like the one day of French team, where the champion go to the club and to develop judo and to make a good image of judo. And I think that the children, of course, is the future of judo, and you can use the judo for sports, but also for education, because there is a discipline in judo, and also it's when you are children, it's also a game. So it's in France, it's a very good sport for children.
Thank you. Neil, to you, we have undergone a huge development in judo from initiating the World Judo Tour in 2009 for the first time. And we're very fortunate to have you as the voice of judo, of course, commentating from the final blocks on the entire world that's broadcasting judo. We have now judo in 190 countries being broadcasted from the live World Judo Tour. But what I'd like to get your feedback on, in this case, because we're speaking about the future of judo, how do you reflect when you see how judo was before, when there were two events, the World Championship and the Olympic Games, and now when we speak about the athlete having a more professional career, winning prize money and competing constantly in the World Judo Tour? How do you see that change, and what do you see for the future?
I see that I think it's changed for the better, because I think, we have great educational values with our sport. Like Lucie said there, we must never lose the educational values that we have. And I think that as a commentator now within the sport, I'm able to, and I have been able to do it for a long time now. I've been able to educate as I commentate. It's something I've got better at as I've gone through the years. I've been doing it for over 35 years now with Fighting Films, and we've developed together. And I think that it's a great advantage that we have such a professional setup. I mean, it's so professionally done now. Mr. Marius Visa, our president, has done an amazing job to put judo where it is. He had a vision, and he went with the vision. And I think that now that we have the world tour, it has put us on top of the world. And I think that there are a lot of different martial arts out there now that are following our lead. And they see how professional it looks and how professional it's presented, and we are able to present it in such a way that people can understand it. And I think that that's the important thing. But we mustn't, and this is the important thing, that we mustn't lose our values. We must keep our values, and we've seen just recently how it can be presented onto the world stage, for everybody to see. And I think that it was a great event. We've just seen one of the greatest events in judo history, and so it can be done, but we must remain with our key values.
And I think the values that you are speaking of and that we learn in judo are some of the strongest assets that differentiate judo from the other sports, staying true to them and staying true to our tradition while modernizing in a way to deliver judo in the highest quality and in the most exciting fashion to be understood by the mass public will definitely be the way to develop and to attract more practitioners going forward. I would like to ask Ingrid, because I think that with judo, we have different stages. And of course, you mentioned at the beginning when you started judo that you had to go because that was what was there and you loved it. How did judo help you to become the person you are today? How does it help you every day to shine and to be successful and to be who you are?
Well, the very first time when I won the World Championships in New York, I was a very shy person. I was really shy, and when I came back to Belgium, it was a moment where normally they speak a lot of football, and there was no football because it was snowing. So I was in the papers. I was 19 years old, and I was all over in the papers, and I was really surprised with all the reactions of the people. I was walking in the street, everybody was recognizing me, and I was really depressed for 6 months. I didn't want to go out anymore. And then my dad said to me, well, you can choose. Either you stay depressed and you stay bad and you don't want to go out and you want to stay at home, or you stop with judo, or you go on and then you do something with it. So at that moment, I knew I wanted to go further. I didn't want to quit judo. I wanted to go further, and I had to get myself a different discipline against people, because at that time, what we don't remember now is that a woman who was world champion at that time, we were attacked all the time. We went to go to the shop, they said, do you want to fight with me? You want to have a drink? Everybody would fight with you, and you have to change your attitude. Because we knew what Neil just said, the values of our sport is not beating somebody up. It's like completely different. And I really had, at 19 years old, I had to cope with that, and it was completely different. And then I had to go also find some training partners. I was tall, I was a heavyweight, so I had to find, I was luckily, I went for some time to England, to the club of Neil, and so I had to take my backpack and go and find the best way to train, and that's to be independent and just go for the best of it.
And they're very lucky, those people, that you were taught the values of judo, or I'm sure they wouldn't have been so happy in their lives after that confrontation.
Maybe, yes. But it was tough.
I can bet. Now we have the beneficial concept, and not concept, but implementation of judo, that women and men are equal. We have the same number of divisions in all the championships in the Olympic Games. We have the same number of prize money for both men and women. We truly empower women. I think at the same time, women in judo are empowered by learning judo and the values of judo in their day-to-day life. But I think you know more about that with Lucie.
First time I went to Japan, I was supposed to go with Robert van de Walle, the other Belgian judo player who was Olympic champion in Moscow. Well, and we had to go together, but he came like 4 or 5 days later. And I went on the mat every day for 2 hours and a half, and nobody would fight with me. And they only would say to me, you have to go to a different university because the women are over there, and they were training katas and so. But I didn't want to do kata. So I stayed on the mat 2 hours and a half, and everybody goes, no. Nobody would fight me. I stayed for 3 or 4 days. And then the first day, Robert came to the training, and he said, what's happening here? No, you're going to work well with Ingrid. And that's how they started to fight with me, but like a woman, And if I only did a small thing and they fell on the bump, not on the shoulders, but on the bump, they sent me somebody stronger and stronger until they cleaned the mat with me. So the only thing I did was get up and go like, again. That's what I remember from my first training camps in Japan, though.
Fantastic memories. Ilias, I remember your famous saying, I must win. You are Olympic champion, you're world champion, you're Grand Slams champion, Grand Prix. You're a judo legend as an athlete, as you are also now the head coach of the Uzbekistan national team. How did it change for you from I must win to we must win, to be a coach and go to the next phase of the career?
Oh my God, it's really difficult. It's not different. Sorry, it's really different when I must win and when we must win. So when you are athletes, it depends just you, me, and now when you are coach, you share all team, all country. You are to face the country. You share in the flag of Uzbekistan, and you share in all athletes. and you every moment, every day, every minute, you must think, what your athletes feeling, how they feeling, how you sleep, how you eat, everything you must feeling, your athletes. But it's interesting. I like this. It's like passion, Every day when I wake up, I want to go in dojo and see my athletes. How they having motivation, how they feeling. He's good. He smile. He's crying. Every day I'm interesting, and every day go with new energy and new passion. It's really different, and I like this one, and I love this job.
Very happy to hear that. To Ingrid and Lucie, I think I've done martial arts my whole life, and martial arts is what's made me who I am as a person. I feel I carry it with me from the dojo to the boardroom and everywhere in between. And I feel that for women, especially today, martial arts is a fantastic education and physical and mental preparation to empower them in their day-to-day lives. Can you share with me how you feel about women in judo, and how can we get more women in judo, even making every woman on the planet learn some judo at one point in their life?
Women in judo, especially in France, it's very big because there is many young girls practicing judo, and I think that now the big champions they are women in France. And so it's very helping the development of women judo in France, and there is many action in France to help women judo to progress and to develop. And I think especially in France, the situation for the women in judo it's very, very good.
I think also when a woman does judo or girl, she gets more confident. And I think what's happening in the world, because I'm not a feminist, because a feminist is too far for me. Even I did, my father let me do some things boys were supposed to do. But I think also that women who feel a little bit stronger in their head and doing something where they can use their bodies, and I will not say really defend everything against everything, but they got more confident, and I think they can go further anywhere in the work, in the education of their children, against bad people, and against everything that's happening in the world, I think.
It's definitely a very difficult moment for the humanity with the COVID crisis here to stay mentally healthy and physically healthy when you're restricted on where you can go and how you can go. And I know that judo has been affected. We have had some other panels today which have been talking about how Jimmy Pedro was saying that now the judo is developing and it's evolving to be not only a competition sport with someone else, but doing techniques even alone and practicing techniques alone to apply later in the dojo. Neil, to you, what do you think is the future of judo in the COVID pandemic? But not only, how can judo evolve to really be applicable to everyone in the world, to attract them before even they get to have their first randori?
I think that this year has been a very special year, hasn't it, for everybody? In as that we all wondered what it would be like to have. It was going to be possible to have dojo to dojo. Me doing a seminar and being able to go into Brazil or into Australia or New Zealand or to the other end of the world, and to be able to be inside somebody else's dojo. We always knew that was possible, and I remember coming up to about 18 months ago, we thought, well, we're going to build a small dojo studio so that we could do this. And then, of course, COVID happened, and the reality of the whole thing came very, very quickly. And so all of a sudden, we were going into individual houses, first of all, because people weren't allowed into the dojos. And so we were doing things to do with movement and balance and just keeping everybody moving, and to do it in the right way, because our main aim when we were doing this was to really get people to, if they were going to stay moving, then to do it in a really good way. And if they were going to do judo skills with elastics and different things like that, then do it properly. Let's do this properly. And I think from a mental perspective as well, from a psychological point of view, it was let's get everybody and keep everybody moving, and to keep everybody healthy physically and mentally. So it started in the homes, and now in the United States, for example, they're allowed into the dojos, and obviously with distancing, but we've done some dojo to dojos. We've just done a very successful one just a couple of weeks ago. There were 160, I think, on one particular call that we did into the United States. So it's something that's opened up, it's changed, So, but what I am saying is that if we're going to do it, then we need to do it, with good instruction, and we need to do it right. If we're going to do it, let's do it with really good quality and make sure that everybody benefits.
Absolutely agree. And technology is definitely playing an important role to be able to connect the world without traveling. We've seen it now in the current pandemic, how we can communicate with other dojos. And I've seen Neil present in other countries when he's home in the studio showing certain things. Judo has been developing and becoming globalized. Judo was founded by Professor Jigoro Kano in Japan. And Ilias, I want to ask you, and maybe also Lucie, because you have been competing on the highest level in the transition moment when the new rules came with no leg grabbing, when Japan used to be very dominant, and today we have 200 national federations, more than 200 national federations, and contenders all around the world to take titles from all different countries. How do you think, Lucie and Ilias, the judo has been changing and has been becoming more global? What gave more of a chance to other countries to come to the top sphere and to be good competitors?
Lucie? I hear the Lucie. First start, Lucie, please. Respect, ladies.
I think that what give more chances for the other country, it's maybe the training camp, because before, when I was athlete, we go to other country, but it was not organized like now with the IGF and the training camp. There is many training camp, and many small countries can go to other country to train. So I think it's a very good chance for this country, and for the judo and the different rules. I think that when the new rules start, many people think that like a Georgian team or many athletes will not win because they go to the leg. But we think that every judoka adapting to the new rules, and now many countries and many styles of judo can win.
I'm agree with Décosse about training camp, about IGF tours. It's I want to say thank you very much, like person, like athletes from IGF, all IGF team, because I remember when I was athlete, 2000 until 2008, 2007. Okay, after Beijing, it start IGF tour. Before was like all tournaments was like 5-6 tournaments, all years, and 2 years, 1 time world championships. And now we show like 20 tournaments altogether. Okay, it is first things, and second things, I don't think about myself. For me it was really difficult, new rules. Okay, but for young athletes, for new generation, it's easy for they, and that's why we having the grow up judo around the world. Before Nelly, he can also agree with me. Was like Japan, Korea, Russian, Georgian, French, like 8 country to say okay, it's really fight wasn't good. But now every country have best judoka. This is result for new rules, and that's why I appreciate who work about these new rules, who do these new rules. This is not just for me. This is for judo, and appreciate really all teams and all coaching who thinks on new rules.
Thank you. About the new rules, if you could change going into the next 10 years, what would be the next rules that you would implement in judo that you think would make it more dynamic, faster, while maintaining the values of judo? This is an open question to all of our panelists.
That people can always say, well, we want, I've heard people say we want to go back to how it was, with the new rules and as to the old rules. But, in the olden days, we had 30, 40-minute contests with somebody attacking once every minute or once every 30 seconds. And, do we want it to go back to that? Not really. But, we want to see more dynamic judo. And I think that as long as we keep, whatever happens, we need to keep the ippon as the main objective, because people want to see a knockout in boxing. We want to see good ippons, and so we need to encourage that. And I think that we need to encourage that through good technique, not just being able to win on minor scores or minor judo and smaller scores, so I think that as long as we encourage that all the time, and you might say, well, okay, so we've got now the wazari or the values of the wazari and the ippon are different. But the point is here is that, before we were quite happy to have the koka, and then we were going to introduce kinza as well. And then we said, well, that's not the way to go. So we're going to change that. And actually what we've done is simplified it now. And as you've just heard there from 2 of the greatest judokas in the world there, Ilias and Lucie, they said the best fighters adapt like that. They can adapt, we can adapt. And I think that as long as we keep the values of judo, like Ingrid said there, we keep the values, we keep the main objective as scoring ippon, then we're on the right track.
When we talk about rules, I was in judo like 40 years ago. When I listened, when they talked to 2008, 2012, I said, "Ooh, I was there for a lot. It was a long time I was there." And there are a big difference, but I think it's what Neil says, that the ippon is really what we wanted to do, and we need to have this. Like he said, we had fights where every 30 seconds somebody was doing an attack, and they should do change everything. That people need to have a very good condition and very good skills, and try to change and adapt to everything what they do. We have to do with all the times what's happening, Corona. It's important to change. Judo is the same, part of life.
I think that we can simplify judo for the penalties, because in judo there is, I think, too many penalties. Maybe 15 way to have penalty is too much for people who look judo. There is no attack, there is grip, there is this. Maybe it's possible to simplify and less penalties. Maybe it will be more dynamic and more judo.
And I say we can't go behind, we can continue. and stand up and grown up. So new rules. I can't say what we can change, because what I want to change, because I remember my judo style was old style. Now it's coming young generation. We must ask young generation how they feel. Understand? That's why my style was old style. With two hands grip. Broke with two hands. But now new generation, we don't fight. They fight. So I want to say we can't go behind. Continue and grow up.
Let's go forward. I can tell you that from the broadcasting point of view, we've been working very, very hard to be able to show to the public judo in the best possible way. I think all of you saw in the World Championship the 360-degree replay, which was one of the most viewed replays in all of the internet broadcasts that were made. And by showing judo in the most beautiful way, while having rules that are easy to understand, and I've had this experience while speaking to sponsors and partners of the IJF, explaining to them what they're watching. Definitely when I was explaining this to them in 2009, it took me 10 minutes to explain and took them 3 days to understand. And now when we speak about the Budapest Championship, I had the opportunity to talk about judo to the CEO of Huawei in Hungary. 10 seconds I explained to him, and he understood in 20 seconds to be able to enjoy the judo. So agree on the simplification in order to modernize in the way that we can attract the interest of the public. And Ilias said something about the future of judo, about the youth that are now competing. So I'd like to ask our panelists, who do you think in today's World Judo Tour can be the next legends of judo, like you are?
Oh my God! Always, judo. It's really which category? Okay, I can't say. Okay, we have living legend now, Teddy Riner. It's Teddy Riner. It's face to judo. Okay, it's finished. For me, Teddy Riner, it's face to judo. It's judo for today. Because also around the world they know who is in Teddy Riner, and appreciate Teddy Riner. But also in Japan we have in Abe, we have Marayama. In Europe we have Clarice, woman. Okay, it's really famous. Not just judo. Around old sport. Okay, we can't say just judo. It's legend. I see. Teddy Riner around the sport, it's legend, okay? Not just judo, of course, in judo. And Clarice, legend. And Kelmenti is not just legend. He's first Olympic champion in the new country. So, new legend is coming Abe now. It's, Daria, Bilodit. Too many legends we have. But for me, for today, really legend is Teddy Riner. For me, okay?
Interestingly enough, one of the most viewed amateur videos on the internet filmed in the Kodokan is of the randori between you and Teddy, Ilias. I think it's one of the most viewed amateur taken phone videos on the internet about judo. But I have to agree with you. Lucie, Ingrid?
I agree. I mean, he was... it's incredible the kind of judo he did in the weight category he is. So I think that nobody can go around Teddy, and I think he's the one most people who knew a little bit of judo knows. So I think he's the one.
Lucie?
Yes, of course, Teddy Riner, because now it's big legend in judo, in sports in general, and he's very good style, very good judo style. 10 times world champion. So yeah, Teddy Riner.
Yeah, well, you have everybody on that panel there. They're all legends, And what Teddy Riner, they're talking about the great Teddy Riner, and he is great. And what makes them very, very special, all of you, is that it's not only about winning a world title or an Olympic title. It's about how you present yourselves and how you present your sport. And also the fact that each one of you has been there for almost a decade, if not a decade. You've been there for many times. It's not just winning it once, it's doing it again and again and again. And that's the most difficult thing, because when you become world champion, you become a target. And, you know, you've all mentioned, Teddy, you know, and during the commentaries that I do, and I've commentated all of you, Ingrid, you and I, like you said, you came to the club and you trained with me over many years. And Ilias, you don't know it, but Ilias is my new training partner. We meet at every hotel. And he's my new training partner.
I miss you, my partner.
And me too, Ilias. Me too, my friend. Anyway, so you know these people here are absolute legends, you know, because and they're the true champions. So our future new champion is somebody that it's not just about winning a world title or Olympic title, but it's whether they're going to be there and whether they're going to be there in 10 years' time, because that's what makes it great.
I think that I have to agree with all of you. For me, a legend is not only about your performance in the sport and on the tatami, it's about your performance off the tatami as well, and how you use your charm and your heroism to motivate and inspire the youth to start that sport, look up to you, and be motivated to practice. So, you know, we're nearing the end of our panel. We can talk for hours and hours, I think, with you as the panelists. It's my pleasure to discuss as much, but I'd like to close with one advice to the future of judo, one advice to the kids maybe who are starting judo, or to trainers, or to dojos, or to the legends of judo. So if we can end with all of you giving one advice from your experience and from your passion to somebody who's doing judo, I think it'll be a beautiful ending to this symphony. Who would like to start?
I will start. I think the most important, that's what I see in the club in front of my fitness club, that the parents, if they put the kids in judo, because we also, like Neil said, we start from the youngest are between 3 and 5 years, that the parents just put children in sports and in judo to enjoy and not think they can be the next world champion. I mean, they first have to enjoy the sports and then they can go further. But some people, like, they go and they put their son in tennis or football, and they're behind, they say, oh, you have to do more, you have to do more. Let them enjoy and let them learn a lot of, like we said, all the values we learn, and then maybe he's going to go in competition. Competition is not the top. The doing something. There's so many people doing sports that's more important than thinking maybe he's going to be a champion. Let him enjoy.
Very well said. Ilias?
Nelly, it's your turn.
It's me. You want me to say?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, for me, it's very similar to Ingrid. I think it's very important to learn the values. So whatever club that you go to learn the values of our sport, and to learn how to do the sport properly. So get a good instructor, because then your career will last so much longer, you know. And every one of these great champions that we have here, and if you have a look at the great champions, they have great technique. They're able to do the sport properly, and they have a great understanding of the sport. So if you're going to learn how to do it, not to just learn how to fight, learn how to do it properly, and to learn the values of the sport so that we can pass it on.
Thank you, Neil. Lucie, and we end with us.
The passion of judo, the love of judo, the motivation is the most important things for players. And for me, I think that to share judo and the transmission, it's a very important things. And for me, it's really important to share judo and to give a very good transmission and share the passion of judo with other people.
Last but not least, Ilias.
I want to, beginning, I say, Nelly was my, I grew up to watching video to Nelly Adams and hear voice Nelly Adams, I remember it's same voice. So that's why now we are me, the coach, Lucie, we are to young generation, young athletes to motivation and face to judo now for young. I am sure too many women grew up to watching Lucie Décosse and also for me, and I continue again to give something small young generation like Nelly Adams give me like motivation and love to judo.
I would like to thank our panelists. I think it was a privilege for us to watch you over the years participating in judo, to see your passion and to see you inspire the next generations, the future of judo. I would like to also, of course, thank all of the judo family who's watching here today. This is the Judo Fest 2020. We have the awards coming up soon. And I think that it's only by being united and together through our passion for judo that we can attract more people to our community and really let them learn from the values and the physical and mental aspects of our sport to be better humans. So thank you all for watching. Have a great day, Jack.
Thank you. I miss you guys.
Thank you.
I miss you.
Miss you too. It's a privilege. A privilege.
Bye-bye.
See you in Doha in Master.